Unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted Show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, rock stars, to another episode of the Raw and Unscripted Show with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, your no excuses coach, because you are at your place for kick-ass, unstoppable, no excuses, motivation, inspiration, and education. I'm excited to be here with you guys tonight. It is just me. There's no guest tonight. And that's something that I promised you guys here in 2025, that I would be doing more solo shows and sharing more of my wisdom and my experiences with you guys one-on-one as opposed to having conversations with other people, because that's what you guys spoke to me and said what you wanted for the podcast. And so I am here to deliver, and no better time than the beginning of the year to start talking about goals. What's up, Orange Checkmate Hudson? Hey man, it's good to see you, brother. I appreciate you. We got to get you back on the show. Tonight, we're talking about goal setting and achieving. That was the by far number one topic that you guys wanted me to talk about in this particular episode. And by the way, just to give you guys a heads up, next week, it'll be another episode with just me, and it's going to be my 300th episode. 300. I started this show 6 years ago in January. I had to do the math, and I realized that I should be on a higher number, but there was some episodes that I didn't do because of different things that were going on. But I am going to be celebrating episode number 300 next week, and you guys definitely want to tune in for that, because there's going to be some cool things I'm going to be sharing. And by the way, again, we are in 28 plus countries, and a lot of you guys listen on the audio podcast, but I do a video cast every single Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which I might be changing that time, but 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys are invited to the conversation, because I'm going to be sharing some video from when I first started. Now we're going to be talking about that tonight, about how we get started. We're going to be talking about the mindset, because so oftentimes we set goals in our brain, but we don't write them down, and we don't measure them, and we don't get accountability in them, and we don't achieve them. And then we set ourselves back and we think, why didn't I achieve this? We're going to be talking about all that and more. Oren says, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. I check you out and I see what you're doing. So thank you for joining in the conversation tonight, and feel free to ask me any questions as we go on with this. But I know you know a lot about mindset and goal setting, but unfortunately, a lot of people think that they do, and it's often generalized how to set goals. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose weight. Oh, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to start a business. We tend to generalize those goals. So at any point you guys are listening or watching this, feel free to send me questions. You can send them to me at info@noexcusescoach.com. You can also type them in the chat if you're watching live or on the replay. I know a lot of you guys on the East Coast watch me in the morning, so thank you very much for that. So what I want to kind of do is take you through a little bit of stuff. Actually, normally I just go from my heart and I go from my brain in a lot of these episodes, but tonight, because this is so important, I really want to deliver maximum value. I wrote notes. Oh my God, I wrote notes. So some of them may be all over the place a little bit, but trust me, by the end of this conversation tonight, you take those notes. And the thing I really want you to take from this conversation is 3 action items. I'm going to give you a ton of information tonight. I'm basically going to give you an overview of a masterclass that I've done many, many times. So if this is something that you dig and you want me to go deeper on some of this stuff, feel free to hit me up and I will be happy to do a masterclass on this. I've done it before. I recently just did this with my group coaching program participants and set them up. We did it last year and they crushed their goals. They achieved more goals than they ever actually thought possible. And so what I want to talk about tonight first is why people fail at goals. Why people fail at goals. One of the biggest things is clarity, right? We generalize, like I said before, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want to make more money. Oh, I want to get a different job. Oh, I want to start a business. Oh, I want to, be better in my relationships, but we don't dig deeper. So the thing that I think about for me, and this is something that's massive in all of my coaching clients, and it was massive for me, is I just want to be successful. That was my original goal. I don't want to be homeless again. That was my real overarching goal, was like, okay, I just want to continue making money so that I'm never on the streets again. That was my goal. And I did everything in my power to make money. But what I suffered from and what I sacrificed caused me to have some downfalls later in life because I wasn't specific in how I wanted to do that. I didn't strike a balance. And that's something that is really important. We can be energetic and we can be driven, but we also have to strike a little balance. And that's something that I have made personal goals for here in 2025. And I'm going to share a little bit about that with you. I'm going to share a couple of stories from my personal life to help you be inspired. But again, take 3 action items. I want you to write them down and say, okay, in the next 7 days, here are 3 commitments that I'm going to make to Christopher. And I'm going to show up next week for the next episode. And when you think about this podcast as being like a live coaching, you think about this as a class, and every single week you show up and you do 3 action items. I think it's 12 times there's 12 months and there's 3 action items. No, 3, there's 52 weeks. So 52 times 3, whatever that is. I'm bad at math, but whatever that is, you think about that. And by the end of the year, how much shit have you accomplished? How much stuff have you really accomplished? Because so oftentimes we get a couple of things accomplished and we sit there and we feel like we've self-sabotaged ourselves, which we're going to be talking about. So 3 action items every single week. You can go back and listen to 298 episodes where I have interviewed some pretty brilliant people, including Oren Checkmate Hudson on this particular show. And you take all of that, it's an investment of time. Absolutely. But I can almost guarantee you that you go back and listen to a third of those shows, you take those action items, you implement them in your life every single week, you go above and beyond, and you do some stretch goals, which we're going to be talking about tonight. Just think about where you could be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, right? And that's one thing I really want to stress to you guys tonight. And I might say this again, but it's really, really important that you get this. Where are you at now in your life? Are you in your 30s? Are you in your 40s? Are you in your 50s? Chances are, based on the demographics of people listening to the show, you're probably in your 40s and 50s and 60s. And when you think about that and you want this overnight change, you want, okay, I want to see my weight loss. I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. Is that reasonable? So I really want you to consider that. How long has it taken you to get to where you're at in your life right now? And then allow yourself that time. And really, what I want you to consider, and this is all about shifting your perspective, right? This is about shifting your perspective about your past, about your present, and your future. I want you to consider, hey, can I enjoy this journey? Can I actually look forward to committing myself and sacrificing some of the other things in my life in order to really get what I want? And so when we think about that, the lack of clarity, people don't define their goals. And so again, when you think about it, we're going to talk about this in a minute, be imaginative. Right? Really dig deep on what it is that you want to do. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. The other thing that people fail at with goals is they have unrealistic expectations. Kind of like I was saying before. Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And on the surface, you think it's possible. But when you start implementing and you realize that you don't, that's why people give up, because they're so often disappointed. Right? I think about some of the goals that I set when I was younger and I found myself disappointed. And what happens when we get disappointed? We get frustrated with ourselves. We get mad and we get angry. And what do? We tend to go to our short-term gratifications, to ignore and to numb and to get away from it all. And then what happens? A year goes by, 2 years goes by, 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by. I have had people come to me that said, Chris, I have been asleep for the last 15 years of my life. Because they've been in alcohol, they've been in movies, they've been in porn, whatever addiction that you possibly can think. But now they're waking up and realizing, oh shit, the hourglass of time. When you think about that sand, now there's less sand on this side that's going down than there was. And so now the fear of regrets is starting to seep in. So make sure that your expectations are realistic. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. No action plan. We just talked about that a little bit. Inconsistent effort. I can tell you, I have been interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, probably maybe even thousands by now. I've been interviewed so many different times. And often one of the questions that I get is, Chris, how did you go from being a 7th grade homeless dropout to earning a master's degree, to having a super successful corporate career, to getting into speaking when you had no self-confidence at all, to getting into coaching, to getting into podcasting and radio, to writing books? How did you do that? And I will break it down for you as simple as I've done those interviewers. And it really comes down to the wristbands I sell. I had to believe. I didn't give myself any excuses. And here's the other one. I stayed unstoppable. This has no excuses on the other side. As you can see, I'm wearing them. So really, when I think about that, all I did was sit there and I decided in my brain, I don't want to ever be homeless again. And I put my nose to the grindstone and said, hey, in my job, I'm going to outperform everybody else. I never gave up. I had consistent, solid effort day in and day out. I figured it the fuck out. There's a great book out there by Marie Forleo that says everything is figure outable, and it really truly is. But so oftentimes we get in this headspace of perfection. Oh, it has to be like this and has to be like this. And I'm going to wait until this is set up, and I'm going to wait until that's right. And I'm going to wait until the kids are out of school. And I'm going to wait until my husband picks up his slack. And I'm going to wait and I'm going to wait and I'm going to wait and I'm going to wait. And then ultimately you get to the end of your life. And I talk to people now who I've known for a long period of time. They're now in their 70s and their 80s. And they're like, Chris, you know what I regret? I regret not taking action on when I said I was going to take action. So think about that, the consistent effort, right? I'm going to give you something right now that's going to blow your mind. Out of everything I'm going to say tonight, here's what I want you to do. You ready? I want you to write this down. Keep your promises to yourself. Let that sink in for a second, right? You think about the commitment. I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to do this. I'm going to exercise 7 days a week. I'm not going to eat any more sugar. I'm not going to drink any more alcohol. All these different things. We make these promises to ourselves, but yet we don't keep them. And again, it goes back to those emotions, the disappointment, the frustration, the anger. Why bother trying? Right? The negative self-talk. How much has that infiltrated your life? We got Robert in the house. What's up? He says, hey, everybody. We got my dear sister from another Mr. Nancy Nan. She says, self-care, not healthcare. Self-care has been in my intention this month. Nighttime love has helped me soothe into sweet sleep. Big little difference and a massive change, right? I mean, it really is. It's about that self-care. I'm going to talk about that also here in just a second. Nancy also says, someday is today. Yeah, a lot of you guys are playing the someday game. Someday. And then you're hoping, wishing, and praying. And I got shit for this. Recently, I did a post and I said, stop hoping, wishing, and praying and just fucking do it. And people say, well, praying, I'm like, whatever you need to do, obviously for your benefit, but take that action and take consistent action. We're going to talk about negative self-talk here in a second. Let's get back to my list. Inconsistent effort. Another reason why goals fail is we fail to measure progress. Nancy's a part of my group coaching program, and we just talked about that. How are you going to measure your success? Right? We're going to talk about smart goal setting. If you haven't heard about that, you're going to love this. A lot of you have heard about it, but how many of you really have implemented it? But measuring your progress, because without tracking, you don't get to see the small wins. And that's something else. When we get something, if we're going to lose 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it might be, celebrate those milestones. Set a milestone for yourself and say, hey, for every 5 pounds I lose, I'm going to enjoy a fat-free Sunday or whatever it might be, right? Set milestones and catch yourself doing things right. Because when you think about self-sabotaging your success, and a lot of people do this, right? That's one of the things I learned early on, was not to self-sabotage my success, to realize, again, this is why my wristbands have said believe on them for ages and ages and ages. My dear friend, my sister, Patricia Geigich, gave me a believe bracelet back in 2013, and I wore it. I'm actually staring at a license plate frame from Ted Lasso that says believe. I believed that if I continued that success and I continued that hard effort and I continued making mistakes, and God knows I have made a ton of mistakes, I failed my way to success. I have made way more mistakes and way more failures than things that I'm successful for. But in the process of doing that, I'm like, hey, I just got another $5 an hour raise. I just got another, $10,000 a year raise, whatever it might be. I celebrated those wins and those successes. You know what I did is I took people out to dinner. I just actually told my buddy Walt, I just said, hey, after something happens that I'm working on with him that he's holding me accountable for, I said, I'm going to drive to Arizona. And I said, steaks and beers are on me. So when you celebrate your successes, go out there and do something nice for somebody else. Celebrate it with somebody who has been a part of your life. That is super important. Robert says here, the group I'm in has accountability call Monday to Friday. There you go. Accountability is critical, right, Nancy? Accountability is critical. Another reason why people fail at their goals is that fear of failure, right? So oftentimes we're fearful of what people are going to say about us. We're fearful that even our closest relatives and our loved ones are going to laugh at us and say, oh, I told you that was stupid and ridiculous. I thank my wife all the time that she has supported me in going out and speaking to kids and speaking to large groups and writing my memoir and writing other things and doing this podcast for 6 years, right? There's no failure. I mean, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not, like getting paid thousands of dollars to do my podcast yet. But what if What if on the 7th year? What if happens in the 6.5 year? Whatever happens in the 10th year? Do I enjoy the process? Am I learning and growing? Have I gotten a lot better since I started on episode number 1? A fucking 1,000%. Right? So enjoy that journey, but don't be afraid to fail. Be excited for the learning opportunities, because they're not mistakes. They're learning opportunities. They're new ways of doing things. Again, like I said, I want you to shift your perspective just a little bit, right? I'm thinking about my past a little bit different. I'm thinking about my present a little bit different. We're going to be talking about thinking about our future a little bit different. Those minor adjustments, those tweaks done consistently over time, you will see such a dramatic change in yourself. You will see a shift in your self-confidence that maybe nobody else sees, or maybe other people do see. I know I've changed a ton in the last 5 years. And I know some people have noticed it, and I know some people haven't. I know that if I died tomorrow, I know people from my past would show up and still say, oh, Chris probably still drinks and gets drunk and does stupid stuff and da-da-da-da. I haven't done that stuff in fucking a long time. I'm not that person anymore, right? So I've continued to learn from those opportunities, because that's what this journey is. This thing called life is a journey, and it's an opportunity to go out there and make mistakes and do all those things to discover what we're made of. And that consistent effort done over time builds up that strength and that muscle to say, you know what? I fucking conquered it. What else can I do? I think about it this in terms of fear. Fear and excitement, I believe, are really two of the same emotion. And I'll give you an example. And I give this all the time and people get it. You're standing in line for a roller coaster. Some people, and I had this personal experience, some people are sitting there going, oh my God, it's so tall and it's so fast. And look at how steep it is. And what if, and what if, and what if? And then you have people right next to you going, oh my God, look how fucking tall that is. Look how, oh my God, that's going to be so cool. We're going to put our hands up in the air. Fear, excitement. It's all a matter of how you look at it. And one of the big things you can do is stay tuned for when I talk about what the tips are that you can do. So I'm just trying to bait you guys a little bit. So fear of failure, fear of perfection, holds people back from starting or even continuing. Another reason why goals fail is overcommitment. And this was something that I was hugely guilty of, because I'm an overachiever. I can fucking do it all. I used to set 10 goals a year. And I would get 10 things done, but sometimes it wouldn't be those 10 things. And then I would look back and go, God, Chris, you always get distracted. God, I wouldn't even celebrate the fact that I got 10 other things done, because I have ADHD on crack. I mean, it's gotten a lot better as I've gotten older. So now here, I'll give you a little tip. 3 personal goals, 3 professional goals or career goals. Can you do that in 12 months? Can you focus on 6 things in 12 months? Yes, you can. Go like this. Yes, Chris. Yes, I can. 100%. But when we overcommit, oh, I'm going to do all this and I'm going to do all this and I'm going to do all that, we set ourselves up again for that emotion, that disappointment. And when we get that locked into that disappointment, what do? We want to run away from it. So don't do that. Don't overcommit. It's realistic to set 3 personal goals and 3 professional goals. I have my group guys doing it. We did it last year. They achieved it. They achieved more than that, because you find, here's what happens. When you start keeping your promises to yourself, is you start doing more and you start realizing, hey, what's my stretch goal on that? Hey, I said I was going to lose a pound a month. Perhaps if I can really push myself and do a little bit extra cardio, maybe I can work out 7 days a week sometimes instead of just 6. Maybe if I say I'm going to do 3, maybe I could do 5. Maybe if I say I'm going to do a half an hour, maybe I could do 45 minutes. All that stuff builds upon itself. And then you find yourself 8 months later going, holy shit, I did it. Fuck yeah. What else can I do? Maybe I'm going to start developing some muscle. Maybe I'm going to enter a mini triathlon and start pushing yourself and start realizing you're way more capable than you ever gave yourself credit for. It is so true. Another reason why goals fail, external distractions. Again, those short-term gratifications. You should monitor how much time you spend on things, right? I have an iPhone and it'll tell me how much screen time I spent. And God is my witness. My screen time went from 20 hours a week to 10 hours a week. I think last week it was like 5 hours, if that. Right. So think about those external distractions. Oh, I'm just going to sit down and watch an episode of Tulsa King. I love Tulsa King. And then all of a sudden you're like, do you want to watch the next one? Oh shit. Yeah. Why not? It'll only be another 40 minutes. And then you've watched 4 episodes, and what have you really accomplished? So here's my thing is think about in terms of, I get to do my goals. I get to pick something today that I can do, that by which doing so, I can go to bed feeling a little bit more proud tonight. And then I can reward myself with a couple of episodes of my favorite TV show. right? Think about that. Eat that frog first. Brian Tracy wrote a great book. I have it on Audible. Eat that frog first. When you start doing the things that you say that you're going to do, oftentimes you get in a cycle and a flow that you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop. Mama's on a roll. Let's go. What else can I do? I just did that this weekend. I'm going to share that story here in just a second when we talk about what it is that we can do. And I want to share personal stories from my life. Here's something else that's huge. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you're just coming in, go back and watch the beginning of the show. Lack of emotional connection. Goals that don't align with your values or your passions feel hollow and unstable. So oftentimes I have met people and I've coached people out of this, that they are working towards a goal that somebody else wants them to accomplish, whether they're cognizant of it or not. And then it's like, okay, why are you doing this? I'm a big why guy. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to dig big in your why. I told my group guys this as well. Like, dig 5 whys into the reason why you want to accomplish a goal. And if somewhere in there is to prove to my dad that I'm worthy, or prove to my mother that I can do it, or prove to my friends or whatever else, that's a shitty goal. When you have an emotional connection to your goal, amazing stuff starts to happen. So let's dig into what it is we can do, shall we? Let me see what kind of comments we have here. We got Darlene Eaton. She says, hey, hello, friends. 2025, 100%. What's up, Darlene? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Robert says here, yeah, I'm hearing much about tracking, just writing it down right now. The follow-ups can fall flat. Yeah, they can fall flat unless you decide that they're not. Let me make something perfectly clear to you guys. Whether somebody has told you this or not, I'm going to tell you this right fucking now. You are the one doing all the things. You are the one making all the decisions. There are no excuses. That's literally why I'm the no excuses coach. My coach said, why is it that you're successful? And I said, I never gave myself any excuses. If I didn't know how, I went to the fucking library and I read books and I asked people who had already done it. And I took those chances and I figured it out. I was thinking about when I worked on cars before, I had no idea, but I just started with 1 wire. This is something I had to remind myself recent years when I was rewiring my power windows in my 69 Charger, is I got overwhelmed and I was like, fuck, there's so many wires. How did I do this before? And I remembered 1 wire at a time, 1 thing at a time. Can I cut out sugar? Yes, I can. Oh, but Chris, I love sugar and da, 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 da. Fuck you. If you want to be healthy, sugar is killing you. Sugar is the #1 cause of cancer. Yes, maybe have a treat every once in a while. But if you Google how to make delicious desserts without sugar and without harmful additives, it's pretty fucking crazy what it is you could do. My wife did that for me. We did this whole thing where she used honey and all sorts of, not even stevia, all these different cool things that allowed things to taste good. Did it taste like a Duncan Hines Devil's Food cake brownie? No, but was it an enjoyable experience that you could sit there and say, hey, I'm having a treat? 100%. So don't give you the excuse. Don't say, oh, that they could fall flat. They're no longer going to fall flat, Robert, because you're the one that's in control. There is no excuse. If you're hanging around people that allow you to fall flat, fuck those people, let them go. Nancy says, I can, I must, I will. Yes, make those commitments to yourself. Self-affirmations of saying, you know what, I'm not that person anymore. When I think about the things that I've done in my past, there are some things that I'm not proud of. Let's just be honest. We all have those things in our closet. But the person and the man that I've become in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, progressively, I know that if I died tomorrow, if I died tonight, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are thousands of people around the world that would show up in social media, that maybe even show up at a celebration of life and say how much that I've impacted them. Because I've kept those commitments to myself to constantly evolve. I've made those promises to myself to sit there and say, you know what? That's yesterday's Chris, right? I'll give you a great phrase that I use all the time. Like I used to drink Jack Daniels like it was fucking Kool-Aid. Just not today. I'm a fan of words. Just not today. 3 words. How about that? Just not today. Just not today. I'm not going to drink coffee. I know somebody who just recently quit coffee and sugar, and they're already feeling tremendously different, right? They deal with some mental challenges, and they're already feeling that some of those challenges aren't there anymore because the sugar is not exacerbating it, right? And because when you start to feel good and you start to be proud of yourself, then that bleeds into the next thing that you can do. And you realize it's not so hard. Again, we're going to talk about something here in a minute that's going to help you out on that. Nancy also says, feasting feels so good. I think that's what it says. I don't have my glasses on. I hope it doesn't say fisting. Hey, this is Raw Unscripted. I can say whatever the fuck I want. So let's get into this. So when we talked about clarity and everything else, you guys, if anybody who's listening to me for any length of time knows I'm passionate about this, but I'm going to beat this fucking drum until you guys do it, because so many people have said, I've heard you say that, Chris, but I haven't done it yet. Write your eulogy. Write your eulogy. When you think about clarity, right? I just talked about the fact that if I died tomorrow, people would show up and say, Chris changed my life. Chris impacted me. I know somebody that I coached back in, I think 2020 or 2021. She still quotes me on social media as being the person that got her from being very, very overweight to being somebody that makes it a priority to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and goes at a park in Texas and works out. She makes it a priority. She posts pictures and goes, still to this day, I feel so much better about myself, because she took that progressive action, because she got comfortable being uncomfortable. And because she said, you know what, the little voice in my head that says I'm going to stay in bed for a little bit longer, she said, fuck you. Right. I call that, I said, shut up, little bitch. I don't hope that doesn't offend anybody, but I tell my little inner voice, I said, shut up, bitch. You're my bitch. Not in a bad way. So don't get all panties up in a wad. People are getting all frustrated and shit about crazy stuff, talking about how the winds are made by man. I don't know. Don't even get me started on that rope. So biggest thing is your eulogy, because here's what happens. When I was at a funeral back in 2008, I thought, if I died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? And that's a great question to ask yourself. Who would show up and what would they say? Oh, yeah, he's funny, good, yeah, whatever. Oh, kind of sad. And chances are they're going to forget about you pretty quick. But if you leave an impact, I came home and I wrote my eulogy, and I wrote it out by hand. I'm a fan of pens. I have a nice pen. I have a red pen. I have another nice blue pen that I use. I wrote it out. And when I read it back to myself out loud, I started crying. God's honest truth. And I was like, wow. And I'm like, why am I crying? I didn't expect to get emotional about this. But the crux of that was Christopher Rausch will have fought for what's right and what's fair. He will have risked for which that mattered. And he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. From that point on, God's honest truth, every single day, nearly every single day, I shouldn't say every single day is perfect, but probably 98% of them, I wake up with that impact that if today's my last day, I wake up with gratitude in my life. So I'm grateful. I say what I'm grateful for nearly every single day. I wake up with gratitude, but I wake up with that intention to fulfill that legacy. And because that's my guiding light, that's where I can sit there and I could be very intentional about what it is that I do. I can be very intentional about what it is that I don't do. Hey, Chris, stop doing that. That doesn't make any sense. That's not who you are anymore. And it's okay to sit there and look at your life in terms of a book. I like to think of life as like a book. There are chapters in your book, and then there's segments of your book, or there's sections of your book. When I moved into this house 12 years ago, that morning at 1:33 in the morning, my mom died. I was there. I held her hand. I told her it's okay, let go. And then 5 hours later, people showed up at my house. I had donuts and I had coffee, and we moved from that house to this house. And so I look at that as a huge section of my life. And there was an opportunity for me to say that I'm no longer tied to those obligations and those feelings and emotions. Now I can choose to heal. I can choose to forgive, right? Because if we don't heal and we don't forgive and we don't find the core essence of feeling that we deserve the success that we set out to accomplish, then it's all for naught, right? So I want you to think about that. Number one, have a clear objective in mind. What is my statement? What is it that I really truly want to do in this world? I want to set an example for my kids. I want to be the guiding light for my kids, so no matter what, they're inspired by my actions. It's not a case of do as I say, not as I do. And I hear people say that all the time. And I look at them like, so you're okay with your kids not doing their homework? No. They have to do their homework. They have to brush their teeth, and they have to do this, and they have to do this, and they have to do this. And I'm like, what are the commitments that you make for yourself in your life? How do you set the example for that? Honestly. And usually I can tell when I'm talking to somebody person to person or on Zoom, most people don't walk their talk. I walk my talk. The things that I ask my son to do, he knows. I said, show me how I have not done what I'm asking you to do. Do you see any of my possessions on the floor right now? Do you see anything of mine on the floor right now? No. You know why? Because you care about your stuff. Yes. So when you leave stuff on the floor, that tells me that it belongs in the garbage. Do you want it in the garbage? No. Okay, can we make that association that anything that's on the floor is you're telling me that it's not worth it? So can you just take a moment when you see something on the floor and go, hey, is that worth something to me? Maybe perhaps I could take a moment and I could put it away, right? Walk your talk. Be a shining example. If that's one thing you want to do in your life, great. If you want to be remembered for being a philanthropist or starting a nonprofit, whatever it is you want to be remembered for, have that clarity in mind. And number one, you have to sit there and you have to know that you deserve it. Now, I grew up with no self-confidence, no love, no physical contact. My mother barely hugged me, but I sat there and I decided, just because I experienced those situations in my life, can I choose to find healing? Can I choose to find growth? Can I go see mental health experts? Can I surround myself with people? Can I allow myself to be loved? And that's what my first wife did. That's what one of my longtime girlfriends did. That's what this wife has done. The people in my life, because I've surrounded them and I've surrendered to allow myself to that vulnerability to sit there and say, you know what, just because I experienced that is not going to be my excuse or my defense mechanism. It's going to be the opportunity for me to grow and to be able to love other people back. Am I perfect at it? No. Do I have to be very cognizant of it sometimes? Yes. But you know what? I make it a priority. After I'm done with this podcast, which we're doing live right now, I'm going to go downstairs. But before I do that, I'm going to take a moment and I post the podcast to the podcast. But then I stop and I think, how can I go downstairs and be an attentive husband? How can I be a playful dad? How can the few hours that I get or the hour that I get with my son, how can I let him know how much I love him so that when he goes to sleep tonight and he wakes up tomorrow and I may not be there, that he knows that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So think about that. When you dig deep on your why and you figure out your legacy and use that as your guiding light, it's pretty incredible what it is that you can accomplish in your life. So yeah, let's keep going on with this. Well, we've already been going for half an hour. I hope you guys are getting value out of this. Feel free to ask me any questions. I know you must have questions. So again, when you think about, we were talking about lack of clarity or lack of the ability to track. If you've never heard of the acronym SMART, I'm going to introduce it to you right now. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So when you make your goals, make sure they're specific, make sure they're measurable, make sure they're achievable, make sure they're realistic, and they're time-based. So I will lose 10 pounds in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be that. And I have worksheets that I personally use. So it's everything's spelled out for me. And this is how I do it. So when you get that specific, you get specific, like so many people, I'm going to lose weight. Okay. Well, how much weight are you going to lose? And what time period are you going to lose it by? Well, I've had people tell me like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds a month. Like that's not realistic. It may be realistic if you starve yourself, but what's realistic? Okay. 3 pounds a month. Okay, great. So if you're losing this overall goal, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, it's going to take me 10 months. Oh my God, that's so long. You know what? The 10 months are going to go by either way. And now let's incorporate into our morning ritual. Again, number one, when you wake up in the morning, say what you're grateful for, because if you get up and you look at your phone and you look at the news and you look at the politics, it's easy. It's easy to sit there and figure out why bother. And I've got some people telling me like, Chris, why bother? Like the world's burning. And I'm like, that's your fucking opinion. I go out in the world every single day and I find beautiful people and I find reasons that the world's not burning, that there's a bunch of keyboard fucking warriors and everybody's thinking that those little small percentages of people is what the world is saying. Everywhere I go, aside from the occasional asshole, people are pretty cool. And so I sit there and I focus on that. So I say what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the opportunity to impact the world today. I'm grateful I get to fight for what's right and what's fair. I'm grateful for another moment and another breath on my own. And then the next thing I do is I set my intentions. My intention is to fulfill my legacy, to fight for what's right and what's fair, to risk for which that matter, to leave the earth a better place for what I do. So when you think about that, what's the next thing you can do? What's the next thing you can do? Right? Is you can sit there and you can say, what action can I take today by which doing so that when I go to sleep tonight, I can find something to be proud of? Pride or proud was my word of 2024. And so I wrote on my dry erase board. I have a small dry erase board right on my dresser that basically only I could see. And this is, what am I proud of today? And I actually had a little tiny book, but I don't have one in here, but I have two journals right here that you guys can see. So I would write in there, what am I proud of today? So that as I'm going through my day, have I set something today that I'm going to be looking at and thinking about tonight that I'm going to be proud of? This year, my word for 2025 is completion, because I tend to start a lot of things, but I get a lot of things done. But for me, it's about, okay, what can I do right now to complete this? And I'll give you a little tip. I was going to give this to you later. But for me, I think about in terms, if a film crew was following me around, watching me clean the house, if the film crew was watching me write on my book, if the film crew was watching me doing whatever, would I go that extra effort to show people at home how much I really go through the process of completing it? And do I raise my standard on what it is that I'm doing? Do I go that extra effort? Because so oftentimes we think it's good enough. Is good enough just good enough for you? Or do you want to sit there and think about something being excellent and then going to bed tonight going, wow, you know what? I was going to only do it marginally, but I decided to do it all the way. And now I'm really super proud of myself. Like, for example, one of my excuses, because I have excuses as well. I had back surgery in 2019. My back was jacked up 6 months after that. They wanted to do more surgery. I've gone 6 years without the surgery. I've done epidurals. I've done everything humanly possible to fix my back. And unfortunately, I'm getting to a point right now where the pain going down my right side is pretty bad. And so what I've done, because everybody and their fucking brother says, Chris, you need to take it easy. You're not 30 years old anymore. Take it easy. Give it time to heal. And so I've actually gotten lazy. And one of the things I used to do a lot was be in my garage. I have a 69 Charger. I have a street legal dune buggy. I used to be out there wrenching and goofing around and fixing things. And my garage used to always look immaculate and well presented and all these different things. But God's honest truth, in the last 2 years, it has turned to shit. And so one of the things that I promised my group was that one of my personal goals is to clear clutter. And then my other personal goal is to have more enjoyable time doing things like I used to do. Because you know what? I told myself, you know what, Chris, either way, the pain's going to be there. The pain is going to be there. But how great would you feel if you went to bed and you walked, and you know that when you walk out in the garage tomorrow, that it's going to be looking like it fucking used to? What's that feeling going to be like? And I put it into my brain this last weekend. I spent 8 hours out there Saturday, and I spent 7 hours out there on Sunday. And by the end of it, I had, I'm going to be careful what I say. I had an Alexa out there. I fixed my stereo. My stereo was buzzing. I fixed that. I organized things. I threw things away. I gave stuff away. I did that. And now every single time when I walk out in the garage, ever since Sunday, I started working on my 69 Charger. I bought a floor jack. I went out and bought a carpet kit. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I'm excited. But I will tell you the God's honest truth. My fucking back hurt. I was saying fuck every 2 seconds because it hurt so bad. But in the same time, I was keeping it in my brain. What am I going to be proud of? Am I completing this? Am I sticking to my goal to say that I'm going to complete this stuff? Am I excited about working on the car with my son? Am I excited about that I get to order some things and do stuff that I haven't done in years so that I don't leave that car in disarray? And the fact that I enjoy doing that stuff. Yes, it's amazing what happens when you push yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing what happens when you do. We got Scott Goyette in the house. What's up, brother? He says, be disciplined, the foundation of self-love. Yes, my brother speaks about self-love all the time. Are you looking through the lens of fear or looking through the lens of love? You guys should go back and check out if you ever heard of it. We did the Unfiltered experience for quite a few years during COVID, and who knows, we might bring that back one of these days. I know that it's still in the back of my mind. I'm sure it's in the back of yours, Scott. Thank you for joining us, brother. I appreciate you. Darlene says, here, good to see you, Scott. Nicole Young says, may I suggest looking into a human garage on YouTube with Gary? He teaches you how to heal yourself. It all has to do with the fascia. Yeah, trust me, Nicole. I literally say this with absolute fucking confidence. I know about fascia, muscle manipulations, trigger point therapy, tinge units, hanging ups, all these different things. Yes. The fact is I have actual physical bone spurs pressing into a nerve that is going all the way down my leg. There is not a whole hell of a lot you can do about that. I have quit taking sugar, pretty much quit drinking alcohol. I quit drinking alcohol for a year. No gluten. There's all sorts of things I've done, but thank you. I will definitely check them out. Yeah, there's some people out there that, yeah. Darlene says, you're working on the clutter around here. It is a real struggle. So here's what I want to talk about. Negative self-talk. I was going to talk about that in a second, but let's just talk about it right now because I'm probably not going to get to all these things. Like I said, this is a masterclass that I used to do for about 3 hours at least. Negative self-talk. It's a real struggle. No, it's a real opportunity, right? What's the clutter? What is it? I actually took a year and I studied why it is that we hang on to things. And there's a psychological aspect of it. There's a couple of great books that I'll be happy to refer to you guys if you want those. But no, it's not a struggle anymore. That was yesterday. Like when you pick something up, does this bring me joy? Does this bring me value? Is this something that I'm looking forward to using? Have I used it? And here's what happens when you start getting rid of shit that you've been hanging on to, clothes that you don't wear anymore, right? Oh, maybe I'll wear that. Maybe I'll need that. Fuck it. Get rid of it. Donate it. Let somebody else have it. And then if you need it again, go buy it, because chances are you're not going to like that style anymore anyway. But when you start getting rid of that stuff and you start feeling better, wow, this is something I can accomplish. The negative self-talk, especially the word try, right? So many people sit there and I'm going to try to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to try to lose weight. I'm going to try to eat better. I'm going to try to quit alcohol. Just stop that excuse. Don't say that anymore. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. You could sit there. I highly recommend putting a rubber band around your wrist. This is something I've done in my life many, many times. And when you catch yourself, hey, I'm going to try. No, I'm not going to fucking try. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Mel Robbins wrote something. She did a TED talk on this and she wrote a book about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is so powerful. You think about that. When the alarm goes off in the morning, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up. Don't sit there and think, oh my God, it's so comfortable and it's so cold outside and just 5 more minutes and I'll feel so much better if I get more sleep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to get rid of 3 things in my closet right now. If I get rid of 3 things every single day, guess what? I'm going to have 21 less things in 7 days. Oh my God, I just did math really quick. That's crazy. I'm going to get nauseous. Don't say you're going to try anymore, that negative self-talk, or it's going to be so hard, or it's going to take so long, all that stuff. Stop yourself. Stop yourself. This is today. This is a brand new day that you get to be excited about what it is that you're going to accomplish and the commitment that you're going to keep your promises to yourself. Again, I said, if you get anything out of this conversation, keep your promises to yourself. The clutter, it's a real struggle. What's the struggle? What's the struggle? Finding a place to throw it away, finding a place to donate it, letting it go. Why is it a struggle for me to let this go? Why do I feel like I need to hang on to this? What value, what purpose is it serving me? Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, here's something that I've done. Take a picture of it. Create a photo album of memories of things that you enjoy. That's one of the things I learned when I was biohacking clutter. Is like I had this watch for my work that it was a really nice watch, but I don't wear analog watches. I wear an Apple Watch. I actually have a really couple of nice whatever watches, and I don't even wear those anymore. So I sat there and decided, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to get rid of it. Think about this. And out here in Southern California, we're having a bunch of fires. And I think about this. Like if my house was in jeopardy of catching on fire, what things would I grab? Right? What things are really super important to me? My photographs, my hard drives. I have a big, huge thing of MP3 CDs that have probably fucking thousands and thousands and thousands of songs on it. What's most important to me? Oh my God, I have this thing that I keep. No, ask yourself what it is that I could do to get rid of it. And here's another tip, ladies and gentlemen. You have Google, you have YouTube, and you have ChatGPT. How to rewire my brain to get rid of stuff. How to let go of things I've been hanging on to for 20 years. What is the struggle? I would love to know what the struggle is, Darlene. Please type it in the comments and I can help you out with that. I'd be happy to answer that. But it really is about that. Does this bring me value? Yes or no? Am I going to continue to use this? Am I going to wear this? And this is something I'm admittedly, sometimes I'm not a clutter freak. Well, some people I know. My mother was a hoarder. When you start getting rid of stuff and you start seeing space and you start seeing, oh my God, I don't have all this stuff. Oh my God, it's not a pain in the ass for me to open my dresser drawers anymore. Oh my God, when I walk in the garage, I'm not overwhelmed by shit that I'm not going to use anymore. I have gardening equipment. I've had a gardener for fucking, Jesus Christ, 13 years. I still have a lawnmower. I still have a weed eater. I still have other tools because I think, oh, maybe, I was in really good shape when I used to do my gardening and it forced me to use muscles. I'm not going to do it anymore. Chris, get rid of it. That's one of my next things is my side yard. And I've already made it up in my mind that I'm going to get rid of the lawnmower. I'm going to get rid of the weed eater. I'm going to get rid of all the other stuff. And guess what? If I ever decide to do lawn mowing again, that lawnmower hasn't started. It's a gas lawnmower. It hasn't started in fucking a long time. But we have a perceived value. Oh, I paid money for that. I paid $300 for that. So what? Would it be really nice to walk on my side yard and not see shit that I haven't used in years and I've been hanging on to? The psychological clutter that it creates in your brain, ladies and gentlemen, holds you back. Hold you back. There's another thing I haven't addressed. There's another thing I'm hanging on to. There's another negative emotion that I can associate with. So stop that. Darlene says, bro, LOL. Yeah, no, I'm being serious. I read a couple of great books. I'd be happy to Google them or send them to you, but just go on Google and ChatGPT. The answers are right there. Go on YouTube. There's that Marie Kondo, I think it is, that she's that organization specialist, right? If you have the money, hire somebody to come in there and ask you, hey, do you use this? Pitch it. So oftentimes we need a third party person to give us the permission to get rid of stuff. And that's something that I'm working on this year, clearing the clutter, right? Because I've done a pretty good job of it, but I really need to do a much better job of it, because I got stuff that I thought, what's the bigger why and the bigger purpose on this is I don't want to leave it for my wife and my kid to deal with it. If suddenly something does happen, I don't want them to have to deal with all this shit. And I have to tell my wife, okay, make sure that you sell that for that and da-da-da-da, make sure you do this. That's ridiculous. If I'm not going to use it, I should get rid of it. I have baseball cards from back when I was a kid. I have some probably really cool baseball cards and stuff like that. And I said, oh, I don't want to take it to a shop because I'm scared that they're going to find, the Mickey Mouse card and keep it and da-da-da. Fuck it, Chris. Let it go. Let it go. Find somebody who's trusted. Find somebody that everybody else is taking their shit to and mail it off to them, ship it off to them and let it go. And then just know that it's going to be served. And if they do, so what? You'll never know it. But those baseball cards will be gone. The Harry Potter shit that your mom collected that you've had sitting in your garage for 12, 13 years because your mom said it was worth something, get rid of it. Let it go. The books that she has in there from God knows when that she said was worth all sorts of money, burn them. Fucking have a fire. Let it go. Let it go. It's pretty amazing what it is that you can do. Yeah, Mel Robbins, 100%. Yeah, I love Mel Robbins. She has a new book out right now that I'm going to be checking out as well. She has been spot on. The High Five handbook, all that stuff. Her podcast is extraordinary. So let me get back to some of the things that you can do. Again, that negative self-talk. Here's another thing you can do. It's called The Hero's Journey, the Joseph Campbell story. It's on YouTube. I think it's an hour and 23 minutes. Go watch that. Make the time to go watch that and really watch it. Be very intentional about what it is that I'm going to get out of this, that I can understand about my own journey and realize that I'm the warrior of my story. I'm not the victim of my story. That's the person I was yesterday. And it's okay to acknowledge it and say, you know what? I wish that person all the best, but you know what? I deserve success. I deserve happiness. I deserve to put people in my life that are going to help me be successful. But here's another thing that you can do. The 5 people in your life. So oftentimes we surround ourselves with people that keep us complacent, that keep us mediocre, that keep us whatever. Ask yourself this question. When did it become acceptable to not take care of myself? When did it become acceptable to punish myself? When did it become acceptable to not keep my promises to myself? It's not acceptable. No, it's not acceptable. And then insert your name. It's not acceptable, Chris. It's not acceptable to keep giving you that self-excuse. You deserve better. You deserve to push yourself. You deserve to feel that sense of pride and that sense of accomplishment for doing something that you said you were going to do. And then you did it no matter what. You pushed through the pain. Was it worth it? 100%, 1,000%. Was it uncomfortable and grueling? Yes, it sucked. But now every single time the benefit outweighs all the other things in that. So when you think about that, the 5 people you're around the most, take a list and actually fucking physically do this and write their names. The 5 people you're around the most. Do they tell you to go out there and follow your dreams? Do they tell you to risk for which they mattered? Right? When I'm sitting here right now, I wouldn't be sitting here right now if I didn't sit in a huge auditorium for like 900 other people and I decided to join a mastermind back in 2013. I spent $5,000 with money that I said, oh my God, I got to pay my bills. I got to do the responsible shit. I can't do this. And I sat there and thought, Chris, if you can't make $5,001 from this 12 months of being in a mastermind, being surrounded by people who are brighter and smarter than you, pushing you and asking you those tough questions and holding you accountable, then fucking give it all up. The coaching, the speaking, everything I was doing. I did a radio show at that time. I got people to push me. I went from a suit and tie speaker being fucking miserable to being the no excuses guy, to actually being the kick-ass guy at that point. And I started owning who I was. And guess what? I may not have been as successful or financially rewarded, but every single day I sat there and got to look at my mirror and said, I'm not being somebody who I'm not anymore, just to be approved, just to make money, just to be accepted, just to be popular. I got around people who are brighter and smarter than me that said, Chris, have you considered this? Do you realize that you're doing this? And those people are honest with you. The 5 people most likely aren't being honest with you. Like, yeah. We want, what is it? Misery loves company. Let's stop that shit. Get around the 5 people that you want the most. You have to invest in yourself. If you were doing this on your own, I could tell you guys this, and this is not a sales pitch for my group coaching program or my coaching or anything else. You have to invest. You have to take that scarcity and sell the shit that you're not using and buy something and get something and invest in the time. And whether it's books, whether it's audio tapes, whether it's programs, There is no excuse. There are tons and tons of programs out there on all the different platforms, for $29. I know people that spend $29, $30 and they learn all these different things, right? It takes time, it takes investment, but all that is why we're talking about setting goals. I'm thinking about that. The 5 people that you're around the most, you should have those people that are doing the thing that you want to do. When I wanted to become a professional speaker, I surrounded myself with other speakers and I copied what it is that they were doing, because success leaves clues, right? Think about that. I want to get you guys some more stuff here for your value of your time. Excuses. Yeah. No, I don't have enough time and I don't have energy. I don't have enough knowledge. That's bullshit. I had somebody actually ask me the question out loud and said, Chris, I want to lose weight. What do you think I should do? And after my head imploded like a fucking hot dog in a microwave, I went, you should Google that shit. And then you should do 3 things every single week and try and 3 things every single week and keep doing that shit. You should probably burn more calories than you consume. You should probably maybe read a book about eat for your blood type. You should probably go out there and Google that shit, because all the answers are there. It blows my mind when people tell me they have financial issues. And I said, tell me what you've done in the last 3 months. What have you Googled? What books have you read? What experts have you talked to? Most often than not, people haven't done shit. They just sat there and went, you know what? I need to make a spreadsheet. No, you need to do some research and actually implement the shit that you're doing. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be awkward, but stop running away from the answers that you don't want to hear, because when you face that stuff and you rise above it and you conquer those fears, it's amazing. And again, when you think about that eulogy, it's about thinking with the end in mind. So here's what I want you to think about. When you wake up in the morning as part of your goal setting strategy, here's something that I do. Visualize. Your brain does not know the difference between real reality and perceived reality. So let me give you an example. You've had a bad dream, right? Yeah. Oh my God, I've had a bad dream. What was it? Oh, I was falling and I woke up and my heart was beating and I was sweating and I was breathing hard. I'm like, did it really happen? No, I was in my bed. Yeah. Because your brain created a movie. The same thing works in the positive. I visualize myself walking out of stage. I could see Raw Unscripted up in the lights, and I could hear AC/DC Highway to Hell. And I look out in the audience, and everybody's like, "Yeah, Highway to Hell." Don't ask me why that's my song. I just love it and its energy. It's not about going to hell. It's about that energy. But I see that, and God is my witness. I know that's going to happen. I mean, it's kind of happened already, but you know what I'm saying? So visualize your goals every single day when you wake up. Say what you're grateful for, set your intentions, and then visualize some of your goals. I visualize myself being able to put on a pair of jeans that I'm proud of. I visualize myself wearing a 2-piece bikini on vacation. I visualize myself waking up and having the man or the woman of my dreams. I visualize myself actually starting that business and seeing the success and going to my accountant and going, yeah, as a matter of fact, I actually did earn $300,000 last year in my business, right? Visualize that stuff. Because guess what? It creates new neural pathways. But so oftentimes we sit there and shoot ourselves in the dick with the things that we say and we don't do anything, right? Accountability systems. If you absolutely have zero money, get an accountability partner that's going to be fucking honest with you. What are the 3 things you're going to do this week? What's specific about it? What's measurable? What's da-da-da-da? And then the next week you sit there and say, okay, did you achieve those things? No, I didn't have time. Okay, talk to me about your day. What it is that you did. Did you get distracted? Like I said before, a lot of the reason why goals fail is because we get distracted. And have that accountability partner, allow them to get in your ass and sit there and go, hey, motherfucker, you said you're going to do this. Guess what? What is it that you're going to do differently this week to make sure that you accomplish that so that you don't show up at this meeting next week looking like a dick, right? You have to have those people that are going to be honest in your life. I have those people in my life. I have somebody I talk to every week. I have somebody talk to every couple of 3 weeks. I have my coach on call. I had her from 2019 to 2023. I've got people in my life, and I've got you guys, and I've got my group accountability coaching program, people that I'm allowing them to hold me accountable as well, because we do those things when you really want to achieve your goals. Holy shit. It's been 53 minutes. Oh, was I on fire? Yeah. Like literally, let me know if you want me to do a masterclass on this. I will be happy to do that. And we'll actually go through the process of these. I literally have so much more written down than I had the opportunity to say. But Darlene says, I've donated and sold stuff, but it's a slow process. Kids junk here. I think that's what it says. All right. So make your kids pick out 5 things that they don't want anymore. Have they played with it? Here's what I do. I have an 8-year-old. Depending on I put it in a bag and I stick it in the garage for a month. And I tell him this. I said, I have picked up a bag full of stuff. I said, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but unless you come to me and say, hey, where is that? I say, guess what? In a month, I'm going to donate it because that tells me that it's not important to you. You just want to keep it just in case you decide to do that. And guess what? I do that with my wife too. I don't tell her that. She's like, hey, did we used to have that? And it's like been 6 months later. I'm like, I don't remember having that. I said, maybe it broke. I don't know. Right. So yeah, there's no excuses, Darlene. No excuses. Do it. She says, I watched the thing on YouTube on seniors and why they have a hard time letting go declutter. Yeah, it's a big thing. I spent a year reading books and Googling it and understanding it. The new book is Let Them. Yeah, I just watched, it's a great podcast with Chelsea Handler and they actually have some guest people asking some questions, some viewers. It's really a powerful episode. So Chelsea Handler and Mel Robbins, go check it out. So here's my question to you. I mean, I can't get to all this other stuff. Let me give you a couple of questions because I know that questions are powerful. Do I feel worthy of success and happiness? That's huge. We talked about that before, that self-love. Ask yourself, what's the one goal I've been procrastinating on and why? Why have I been procrastinating? Because I'm afraid of success, because I've tried so many times. And what is it that I'm going to do differently this time? Am I going to join a group? Am I going to go see a psychiatrist? Am I going to get what am I going to do differently? It's all about doing the stuff differently. This is a really great one. And then I'll kind of wind it down. When you're in the moment of the day, right? And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to kind of work on something. Oh, let me just do that for a few minutes. Ask yourself this question. And I talk out loud to myself. Chris, is this moving you closer to or further from your stated goal? Is this moving you closer to or further from your stated goal? I have had my hand in the cookie jar. Literally. Is this getting you closer to or further from your stated goal? You said you want to drop 13 pounds. Is that going to really? Did you bust your ass today? Did you really overwork yourself to be able to enjoy that cookie? No. I kind of did what it was expected of me. Is this getting me closer to or further from my stated goal? Right? Oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine. Oh, I'm going to have another one. I've already started drinking, so I might as well finish the bottle. No. Is that getting me closer to or further from my stated goal? Is giving my excuses, giving myself further from or to my stated goal? That is powerful. That is powerful. So ladies and gentlemen, here's my ask of you. If you got value out of this, and I know you did, listening to this or watching this, please share this out. One of my goals, my professional goals, is to impact more lives this year than I ever have before. And I need your help with that. Not only just share it, but say, hey, I just watched Christopher, and man, he provided a powerful set of strategies and mindset beliefs in this particular episode about goal setting. It's probably stuff you haven't heard before, or maybe it's the time that you hear it right now. Please, I'm asking you to do that. And if everything I've said is inspiring to you, consider joining my group accountability coaching program. It is massively affordable. It's so affordable. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm talking like Donald Trump. It's ridiculous. I made it super, super affordable. So there was no excuse, but there's a little bit of skin in the game. So think about that. You show up twice a month. We do 2 Zoom meetings. You have an accountability partner. We have a private Facebook group chat. There's all sorts of things. I will gift you a complimentary coaching session. Let me think about it. If you've never had one with me before. And there's a way to actually work with me once a month in that group for a slightly higher investment. Slightly. I charge $300 an hour. That one isn't barely even close to that. So there's that opportunity. If you feel that I am the guy that can help you, then invest in yourself. I promise you won't regret it. My group accountability coaching program, guys, last year, I said, in December, I said, let's recap the things you've accomplished. And I was expecting 4 or 5 things, and they're just like, and I got this done, and I got this done, and I got this done, and I got this done. I was like, holy fuck. And I'm like, have you ever got that much stuff done in 1 year? They said, no. I wouldn't be here today sitting in front of you. I would still be in a 9-to-5 job had I not invested in myself. You have to take that leap. I'm just telling you that. It's not a sales strategy, but with that, I am going to collapse because I've been going since 4:30 this morning, and I'm going to go to bed tonight feeling super proud of myself for the things that I've accomplished. I went to the gym this afternoon because I didn't get a chance to go this morning. I don't go to the gym in the afternoon, but guess what? I drove my car and I said, make a left, Chris. And I went in there. I didn't have my workout gear on, but guess what? I went in and I worked out for 58 minutes. You know how I felt when I walked out the door? Accomplished. I love you guys. We're going to be back here next week, next Tuesday. Join the video cast if you're listening on the audio podcast. Next week is the 300th episode. So I'm going to be sharing some stuff on how I started. We're going to talk about consistency. Perhaps I'll share some more of these strategies because I didn't get to them all. But again, I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Go out there and spread more love than fear. Stop being a keyboard warrior. Stop listening to the news and following politics, and just go out there and be a beautiful human being and live that legacy that you want to leave, because life is not guaranteed. I love you guys. Stay raw and unscripted. No excuses. And I love you guys.